You've propped up the government for 2 years. Now all of a sudden they're terrible because of some vague notion of corporate greed, and you're refusing to say whether you'll bring down the government at the first opportunity. What is the point of all this, sir?
Welcome back to Moose and Loose. Today we've got Jagmeet saying he's in the hot seat here because he broke up his coalition agreement, his supply and confidence agreement with Justin Trudeau. So now he's being questioned here. And the reporters are kind of savage, ripping this guy apart. He is talking a big game as usual, but this guy is a liar. Let's check it out.
We tore up the agreement with Justin Trudeau, and we know that that means that an election now is more likely than before. And we've accomplished a lot together.
Something to note, him saying it's more likely. He says that over and over and over throughout this press conference. This is just him posturing. He knows he's going to try his best to delay things past his pension time and try to build a little bit more support and get more fundraising before the election. He does not want an election anytime soon.
It was important work, but it became very clear to me that Justin Trudeau and the Liberals were far too weak to stop big corporations from ripping off people. And people deserve more. And we know now that sets up a question for the election. A choice between Pierre Poilievre, who has made it clear that he will allow his corporate buddies to rip off Canadians even more. That means higher prices at the grocery till, and means higher rents for corporate landlords.
No, this is what Justin Trudeau is quite literally doing right now with his corporate buddies.
Or us, New Democrats, who want to stop these corporations from ripping you off and save you money when you buy your groceries or pay your rent. That's a choice in the next election.
Basically, if Pierre Poilievre moves a non-confidence motion, will you support it?
In terms of any motion moving forward, we're going to look at that motion before we decide. We're not going to presuppose an outcome of that. But we have I've ripped up the agreement with Justin Trudeau. And I know that means that an election has now become more likely.
There it is again. He's not. He's just going to delay this as long as possible. They still probably have a backdoor deal.
We are ready to fight an election whenever that happens. And when that election comes, the choice is going to be between Pierre Poilievre and conservative cuts, who want to literally destroy our healthcare system, want to make it so that the only way you can get care is if you can afford to pay for it out of pocket. Or New Democrats, who want to fix our healthcare system, build it up so it is there for you and your loved ones when you need it. That is a choice in the next election.
Stephanie Hughes, Bloomberg. What do you need to see from the fall economic statement or spring budget in order to support the Liberals on votes?
For any question around votes, we're going to make that determination on a vote-by-vote basis. So we're going to see what the government presents, and as an opposition party, we'll look at it, and then we'll make our decision.
I'm sure you will, and I'm sure there's not some secret handshake in the background there with Justin Trudeau. These guys.
But because I ripped up the agreement with Justin Trudeau, I know this now means that an election timing has become more uncertain, more likely. And we know that that means people will have a choice to make. And I'm looking forward to bringing that choice to Canadians, a choice between Pierre Poilievre and Conservatives who want to let their corporate buddies rip you off even more, want to let corporate landlords jack up rents and renovate you even more. Free season for corporate greed. Or New Democrats who want to make sure you can afford to find a place to call home. That's going to be the choice in the next election. And I'm ready to bring that choice to Canadians.
What's kind of ironic about this press conference is the audio quality is so bad. It's all this crackly, annoying bits in there. You guys probably can't hear most of it because I'll go in and I'll clean this up before I put it out to you guys. But the fact that it's just symbolic of Jagmeet saying it's broken, it's corrupted, just like the audio on this press conference.
Losing rural and blue-collar votes, ridings to Pierre Poilievre's Conservatives in the next election.
I'm confident that we can remind Canadians what they already know about Conservatives. If you ask people in provinces across this country where they've seen just recently Conservatives, like in Manitoba, they saw what Conservatives do.
Oh yeah, tell us what that is, Jagmeet. This is going to be good.
They cut and gut the things that people care about.
Oh really?
People remember in Manitoba, Premier Stephenson and Pallister, who destroyed the healthcare system. They see right here in Ontario, Doug Ford, cutting and gutting our healthcare, education, giving to his buddies, making them richer and hurting people in the process.
What about Randy Balsanout and his self-serving of his PPE company, or Stephen Guilbeault with his conflict of interest, or pick one, there's millions. Trudeau giving millions to the Congo. Trudeau giving millions to whatever, Eco-Green Slush Fund, Arrive scam. We could go on and on all day.
They see that happening. And so I'll remind people what they already know. Pierre Poilievre will do exactly the same. He will allow his corporate buddies to rip you off at the grocery stores, rip you off when it comes to your rent, or Pierre Poilievre will do exactly the same. He will allow his corporate buddies to rip you off at the grocery stores, rip you off when it comes to your rent, or Pierre Poilievre will do exactly the same. He will allow his corporate buddies to rip you off at the grocery stores, rip you off when it comes to your rent, or Pierre Poilievre will do exactly the same. He will allow his corporate buddies to rip you off at the grocery stores, rip you off when it comes to your rent, or Pierre Poilievre will do exactly the same. He will allow his corporate buddies to rip you off at the grocery stores, rip you off when it comes to your rent, or Pierre Poilievre will do exactly the same. He will allow his corporate buddies to rip you off at the grocery stores, rip you off when it comes to your rent, or Pierre Poilievre will do exactly the same. He will allow his corporate buddies to rip you off at the grocery stores, rip you off when it comes to your the choice between New Democrats. They're going to say, we're going to fight back against that corporate greed and make sure we lower the price of your groceries and
This guy's so delusional.
lower the price of your rent. That's a choice in the next election.
If the NDP do not do well in the by-elections, especially in Elmwood, Trascona, a riding New Democrats have held for the better part of 4 decades, should it prompt a review of your leadership? Your party in 3 years has made little to no gains as the Liberals' fortunes have plummeted. How much of that is on you?
That's a great question. What do you think the answer is? This guy is just as narcissistic as Justin Trudeau.
I will be leading the party into the next election. And in that by-election, people will have a choice. In Elmwood, Transcona, people will have a very important choice. And in Manitoba, Manitobans have made that choice very recently. They rejected Conservatives. They rejected the...
This is why they're doing it now. They don't want to lose their last stronghold in Manitoba, the NDP.
The mean politics of Conservatives and frankly, the cuts of Conservatives in that province. And now that's a choice they have again. And a choice between Pierre Poilievre and the Conservative cuts or New Democrats who want to give people back hope, who want to strengthen pensions and fix our health care.
He is just so full of crap. What's with this tie? It looks like it's made out of a piece of rubber.
Your dislike for the Tories is clear. You made it clear in your video that you released yesterday. Why do you believe that so many Canadians support them over your party?
I think Canadians right now are incredibly frustrated and let down by Justin Trudeau. And
Jagmeet Singh.
Naturally, in Canada's history, when folks are upset with the red team, they then start looking at the blue team. But it's easy to remind folks what Conservatives do. It's easy to remind folks what Conservatives prioritize. What they do is they cut, for sure. They cut. And
then you get more money in your own bank account. Then you can spend it on whatever you want. You have lower taxes, less government spending, less inflation, better life.
Healthcare, they cut pensions, and they give to their corporate buddies. They give them tax giveaways. They make their buddies even richer. And that hurts people.
So we're going to skip ahead here because he just goes on to do the same ramble over and over and over.
You spoke there about the Liberals being weak. Also, you spoke earlier about holding grocery execs to account. You also said that you're not sure when you would trigger election if that would happen. So how can you get Canadians to vote for you if you're seeing leniencies when it comes to not triggering the election, keeping a weak government in power, and also giving the Liberals a little bit of leniency when it came to implementing pharmacare?
We have ripped up the agreement with Justin Trudeau. The agreement is done. We've ripped it up. And we know that makes an election more...
He loves to say that. He's saying it again here.
...likely.
Election's more likely. He knows full well he's not going to do anything to trigger an actual election anytime soon until after February of next year.
We're going to make a decision based on whatever votes come in front of us about how we vote on those votes. But let us be very clear. The next election is about a choice, and we are ready to take that choice to Canadians. The choice is between Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives. We've seen what they're all about. They want to let their corporate buddies rip you off even more. Give them...
So he's just going to ramble again and again. Let's go next question.
Brian Lilly with the Toronto Sun. You've made it very clear that you don't have faith in the Liberal government to deliver for Canadians. So a simple question, hopefully a simple answer. Do you have confidence in the Trudeau government?
Well, we've ripped up the agreement with Justin Trudeau. That speaks for itself. I've ripped up the agreement, and I know that...
What did you do with the agreement, Jagmeet? What did you do?
That means an election is now more likely.
Oh, really?
We will look at every vote as it comes and make a decision as it comes. I'm not going to presuppose the outcome of a vote before it happens. We will look at each vote and make our decision as it comes. But let us be very clear. I am absolutely aware that ripping up the agreement with Justin Trudeau means an election is more likely, and that sets up the question for what is this election going to be about. I am very strongly in belief that this election is about two competing visions for our country. The vision of Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives is a vision to cut the things that you want. They're bragging about wanting to cut healthcare and destroy universal public healthcare as we know it. So the choice is, do you want Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives to make our healthcare system one where you've got to pay out of pocket to see a doctor, and only those who've got money can get healthcare that they need? Or you Democrats who believe very fundamentally that it should not matter how much you have in your wallet to determine the quality of care and how fast you get it. That is a choice in this upcoming election. What vision of Canada Canadians want?
You've said about a dozen times at least that you've ripped up the agreement and that makes an election more likely. But you've been asked several times and you won't answer. Do you have confidence in the Trudeau government as they stand now?
I will be clear again. We have absolutely ripped up the agreement with Justin Trudeau, and that means an election is more likely.
Clear. That's not clear. You're
and an election, whenever that election comes, we'll be ready to fight it. And the vision around that election is going to be an important one. Canadians will have to make a choice.
But can we get an answer?
Corporate controlled conservatives, they're going to let their corporate buddies rip you off even more, or New Democrats are going to save you money on your rent and your groceries. That's a choice that Canadians will have to make.
Can we get an answer?
I will look at any vote that comes before us, and we will make a decision in the best interest of Canadians, as any minority government normally operates.
Hi, Mr. Singh. Laura Stone, Globe and Mail. I think a lot of Canadians watching this right now might be a bit baffled by the political posturing that's going on. You've propped up the government for 2 years. Now all of a sudden they're terrible because of some vague notion of corporate greed, and you're refusing to say whether you'll bring down the government at the first opportunity. What is the point of all this, sir?
We have been very clear. We accomplished some significant things for Canadians. We got dental care for millions of Canadians. We're able to get the first steps on pharmacare. We've been able to get things done that are going to make people's lives better. But it became very clear to me, after having got these important things done, that people need more. And Justin Trudeau is unwilling, does not have the courage, doesn't have the strength, and is too beholden to corporations to stop big corporations from ripping off Canadians.
Here he goes again.
Driving up the cost of groceries.
He's not
and
answering.
Driving up the cost of rent. So we've ripped up the agreement, and we're going to move into a vote-by-vote basis.
What did you, Jagmeet? What did you do with that agreement? Did you rip it up?
So any decision that comes before us, we'll make based on what's in the best interest of Canadians. But let us be clear, this absolutely means an election is more likely. And that election is going to be about an important choice between the cuts of Pierre Poilievre or New Democrats who want to build a better future for you.
You announced that you've ripped up this agreement or canceled it about 5 days after Mr. Poilievre challenged you to do so. Why did you only come out after the Conservatives put pressure on you, and was it a mistake for you to not do this earlier?
He's laughing about it. He knows he's screwed. He looks like he's one of Poilievre's MPs, not a leader of a party.
I will never ever take advice from Pierre Poilievre, who wants to destroy our healthcare system, who wants to cut pensions for seniors, who wants to let his corporate buddies rip off Canadians even more. I will never, ever
He's trying to brush it off. He knows.
take advice from Pierre Poilievre. Clearly, and my team can give you some more details on this, we filmed this video way before that came out. And to be honest with you, to be frank with you, Pierre Poilievre has been saying to tear up the agreement since 2 years ago. So no, it has nothing to do with Pierre Poilievre at all. It's a silly claim of Pierre Poilievre, which he often makes and something that he likes to make up. But it is an important choice that's in front of Canadians. We have ripped up this agreement. We've made this decision. We've gotten things done for Canadians. And now there will be a choice for Canadians to make. What type of country do we want to build? Do we want to build a country where Pierre Poilievre throws fuel on the fire of corporate greed, lets his corporate buddies have free reign to rip you off?
Okay, he just keeps rambling again. We'll move on.
With the Canadian press, aren't you worried that this move could jeopardize the programs that your party has been fighting for, such as pharmacare?
I appreciate the question. I want to be very clear on this point. If any of the programs do not move forward, it is the fault of Justin Trudeau. He has all the tools necessary to move forward. And if he does not move forward on pharmacare, even though it's been passed in Parliament, if he doesn't move to the next phase on dental care, even though all the legislation necessary has been passed, then it is his fault. It will be the Liberals' fault. And if they fail to deliver, I will finish the job when I'm Prime Minister.
This guy is such a loser. He'll never be Prime Minister of this country. Oh, man. Who does this guy think he is? He's trying so hard to just pass the blame off onto Justin Trudeau now. He's trying to separate himself. You're just the same as him, Jagmeet.
You've mentioned corporate greed many times as the reason why you're exiting the deal. I feel like everything you've said today and yesterday were things that you were saying 1 year ago or 2 years ago about the Liberals. So what is new and specific about these criticisms that were serious enough to warrant leaving the deal right now?
One of the important things that I've mentioned in this press conference, and I think needs to be reiterated, is that we've got a lot done. A lot of that we were working on was either passed or was in motion. And so we've completed a lot. Having completed a lot of the work, it became very clear to me that Canadians also need more. And when it comes to the more, that's where Justin Trudeau has shown that he's too beholden to corporate interests to do more.
We have time for a last question. We will go to David Aitken with Global News. Please go ahead.
They're just letting anyone ask questions these days. Hey, I'm David.
All right, thank you very much for this last one. I appreciate the moderator's sort of indulgence, and I appreciate your patience, Claire, Norm, and everybody else standing there with you for giving Jagmeet the grilling here. I'm going to double barrel it on behalf of Western Canadian New Democrats. Let me put it to you, there's no way you're going to cause a federal election this fall, not a chance, because BC New Democrats would be furious. Way more important to re-elect Premier Eby. Carla Beck has got a chance to beat Scott Moe. Saskatchewan New Democrats would be furious with your caucus if you took away money, volunteers, and resources. So that's the one thing I want to get you to comment on. It's sort of Kyle or Ellen Bazzetti's question. And two, one of your senior MPs, Gord Johns, we love Gord, and Gord said this, and I'm going to quote it back to you. My constituents have given me plenty to work on, including infrastructure, shipbreaking regulations, reconciliation, mental health. Quote, my work isn't done, and forcing a third election in 5 years isn't very high on my list. So as I say, two things. Two premiers and leaders out there, they don't want a federal election. Neither does a senior member of your caucus. You're going to vote to support every single government bit of legislation, in my view, this fall, correct?
Wow, that's quite the question. So my 2 cents, first off, Gord Johns is my representative. He's an idiot. So that's all I have to say about him. Let's see what he has to say.
Like I said before, we've ripped up the agreement with Justin Trudeau.
There it is.
And because we ripped up the agreement, we know very well that that means that a question of an election is more likely. And we are ready for an election. We are going to make a decision based on each vote as it comes to us. Not afraid of the outcome of those votes. We're going to make a decision based on what's in the best interest of Canadians. Whatever the vote is, whatever the issue is, we're going to make a decision that's in the best interest of Canadians. And we are ready for an election. And that election is going to be about a choice. And I almost want you to say it with me. The choice is about Conservatives who are going to cut, or New Democrats who are going to take care of you, who are going to have your back. Conservatives who want to let their corporate buddies rip you off even more, jacking up the cost.
Yeah, he just goes on to ramble. That's basically it. So there you have it, Jagmeet getting pretty well roasted there and grilled. I mean, he's a liar. They're all trying to call him on it. Brian Lilley really dug in there. Jagmeet won't say it. This guy even just called it at the end. Between the election coming here in BC on October 19th and then Saskatchewan, doesn't make sense to take up resources when this stuff's going on, especially here in BC. The election is going to be tight. The recent poll numbers I saw, Conservatives are up by 1% on the NDP. So the NDP they're feeling it here. They're sweating. The question is now, what does Jagmeet have up his sleeve to delay things past February to get his golden pension?